Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Sunday night satsang with John and Michelle. Hello to you and welcome. You're most welcome. We are integrative life coaches and we really enjoy sharing what we have to share with the world every Sunday. Michelle is an astrologer, very good astrologer as well in addition, and she's going to share some information on what the stars are telling us at the moment, and particularly the new moon that's coming up tomorrow. All right?
Yep, tomorrow.
And then we're going to be talking about the power of appreciation. It's amazing how, as we change our vibration, the world that we meet changes. So we're going to be looking at that tonight as well, and we're going to be leading everyone through a meditation, a guided visualization. So welcome. Yeah, thank you. And we really enjoy the community that gets together every Sunday to be with us, and I'm sure that the lights that we bring into this particular forum helps to illuminate the world at this time. I think the world needs a lot of light at this time because there's a lot of contrast going on. So yeah, I think you're doing your bit by shining your light in the hour that we share together every Sunday. So welcome. Yeah.
And it's a good way to start a new week. So, yeah, lovely to have you all here. Thank you for joining us. We can see you joining. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, let's start this evening the way we always do, and that's by bringing ourselves into a centered place, into a place of presence, rather than the place of hecticness that our mind seems to lay before us every moment of every day. So as we are talking about tonight, we're talking about appreciation. Let us look around at the moment as we settle down at the world around us right now. We have a candle, we have some beautiful crystals here, and we have you. And I must say we do appreciate it. We appreciate this particular moment. So just look at something that you have with you, around you, and bring your full attention to it. Maybe if you have a lit candle, that's really beautiful because you can focus on that flame. And the flame of a candle is something really good to still the mind, because it isn't a somethingness, it's actually a plasma changing moment to moment. And so by focusing on a candle flame, we can still the mind quite quickly. But whatever it is, just have a look at one object that you have with you. It could even be, for example, a glass of water, which we have here. And just bring your full attention to it with the energy and intention of appreciation. Just appreciate it. And as you do that, just notice how much quieter your mind becomes, how much stiller your mind becomes. Just notice that. And see if you can find the stillness within you that is mirrored in the stillness in that particular object of your attention. So see if you can join your stillness with the stillness of the object in front of you. And as you find that stillness in the form, gently close your eyes and sink into that quiet place, that stillness within you. Still feeling connected to that form that you were gazing at a moment ago with appreciation. Find that stillness within you and give it your full attention. You might like to visualize an empty chamber in your heart, a sacred place of stillness. And you might like to settle your awareness into that place, withdrawing your mind from all other times and all other places, and just becoming firmly anchored in the present moment, the now, with a sense of gratitude for being here tonight in this community of like-minded people. Feel your heart connecting with all those who share this satsang. your heart, connecting with Michelle, connecting with me, and connecting with all those that are part of this community, this ever-growing, ever-expanding community of light. Become aware of your senses, become aware of the chair or the couch or the bed that you are sitting on or lying on. Become aware of your hands and your feet. Become aware of the air as it enters your nostrils. Circulates your lungs and then it gets expelled. So becoming aware of the in-breath and the out-breath. And particularly the pause between the two, that stillness between the doing of the in-breath and the releasing of the out-breath. That quiet, still space. And become aware of your ears and the wonderful, beautiful gift of hearing. Become aware of all the sounds that you can hear right now, particularly those faint ones. Maybe the hum of something far away, maybe the sound of a dog barking, or maybe the sound of your own breathing. Maybe if you listen very intently, you can hear the beating of your heart as it pushes a pressure wave through your eardrums. Become aware of the aliveness in your ears. Becoming aware of the aliveness in your body. You may feel it as a tingling sensation. Maybe you can feel the aliveness in your skin, in your arms and your legs and your neck, and your cheeks and your forehead and your scalp. See if you can feel this aliveness simultaneously everywhere in your body at once. Take a deep breath in now, filling your lungs all the way up, pushing the air right down into your belly, and then a long relaxing out breath. Let it go. Let's try that again. Another deep breath in, pulling your diaphragm down, pulling the air down into your body, and then the long releasing, relaxing, letting go of the out breath. Let's try that one last time. Breathe in deeply, right down to your belly, up into your head, expanding your lungs, and then a long releasing out breath, twice as long as the in breath, just relaxing your shoulders and your neck muscles. And then now allow life to breathe you. Just allow life to breathe you. With the gentle in-breath, the pause and the out-breath. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and focus again on that object that you were focusing on at the beginning. And see if you can feel more aliveness in that connection, more gratitude in that connection, more clarity in that connection. Or it's only the noise in our mind that separates us from the oneness of awareness. So thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to hand over to Michelle and let's see what she has to say about the new moon this week, this coming week.
Thanks, John. That was very peaceful. So, we're building up, well, we're kind of waning towards the new moon, which is tomorrow night, and it's in the sign of Cancer, which means that the sun and the moon are together at the same degree. And obviously then that basically sets the theme for the month, because it's the start of a new lunar month. So the theme of Cancer is very much what I feel we've just actually experienced. I've experienced a lot of peace while you were doing that. It's a state of softness and gentleness. And really for me, that's what this new moon is asking of us, is to, in the midst of the chaos that we find ourselves in terms of our surroundings, we don't have to be part of it, but in the midst of that, to find those moments of peace and softness and gentleness. So Cancer is a cardinal water sign. So it's all about feeling. It's all about nurturing, mothering, family, home. And I put my newsletter out, my blog out today on the new moon, and saying that basically it's about home. Where is home? And really, home is what we've just experienced, what many of you may have just experienced. It's that place in between the thoughts. It's that place of stillness and quietness that helps us to return to who we really are. That's our real home. But we sometimes get pulled out of that. So this new moon that is coming tomorrow sets the theme for the month. So what we do as astrologers is we draw a chart for the time and the exact minute that the moon becomes new. And then that is the time where we start, we set new intentions, so we plant new seeds. So if you're a gardener, it's always good to plant seeds on or after a new moon, so then they can grow with the waxing moon, which then takes 2 weeks until full moon in 2 weeks' time, and then there's a waning moon cycle. So this kind of gives birth to a planting season, and it's quite fertile because the moon's in Cancer, and Cancer is a very fertile, very feminine, watery sign. So really this month is about that. So this is a very good time, not yet because we're still waning, but after new moon, which is tomorrow evening, so any time after that, it could be tomorrow night or it could be the next day, it's also fine. See if you can just set some intentions for the month ahead. And those intentions need to be based around home, coming home. What might happen, and I have to tell you this, is opposite the new moon tomorrow, we have good old Saturn at the same degree, but opposite. So Saturn's in Capricorn and he's sitting over here with Jupiter and Pluto, and the moon's sitting over here in Cancer. So what it's doing is it's activating the same axis that I've been going on about since January. So we have 3 planets in Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto, and this new moon activates that group of planets. So it activates that energy. So you might feel a little bit more intensely. Saturn specifically, because Saturn is actually at the same degree but opposite. Saturn is very different energy to moon energy. So moon energy is all about flow, it's all about feminine, it's all about being, it's about nurturing and nourishing and all those things. And Saturn in Capricorn is very driven and very sort of focused on achieving, goal driven. What should I do next? Where should I go next? How should I achieve my goals next? So it's quite outward driven. And so it's sort of it's always a polarity point. So new moons on their own are generally quite gentle, but this one's got this opposition. So it's almost pulling us out of it. And what it can do is it can be a bit pessimistic, and it can make us look at things that are wrong rather than what is right. And I'm sure that some of you have felt that in the last few weeks, and it may get a little bit more intense. So just being aware of that is we always have a chance and a choice and an opportunity to actually see things from a different perspective. And so where we might feel restricted, there might also be an upside of that. Where we might feel isolated, there might be an upside on that too. We might feel that we have more time to actually just be. We might have more time to go within, to find home within us, rather than outside of us. So that's why we thought we'd speak about appreciation, because if we are always looking at the outside to actually give us what we need, we're always going to be pulled, and we might find it lacking. So it should be like this, and it's not, so therefore I feel terrible. And then there's the complaining that goes along with it, and the feeling of limitation, which then brings more limitation. So the way I'm seeing the energy of the month is to focus more on the inner than the outer, more on the feminine, because it's a sort of a very driven energy. So I think what's going to balance it is self-nurturing, sympathy, empathy, compassion for ourselves and other people, because people are battling. There's a lot of suffering out there, and so the more we can actually connect with our own softness and our own gentleness, we feed into that. We don't feed the harshness, we don't feed the anger. The anger comes compliments of Mars, who's moved into Aries, and he will be in Aries for 6 months. Now usually Mars is in a sign for about 2 months. This time he's in for 6 months, so till January. And Mars is the warrior planet, just on his own. When he's in Aries, it's the warrior energy. It's let's fight the system. Let's go out there and fight. Let's polarize. Let's be warriors. Let's brandish our swords. And there's always there might be an opportunity to do that in a good way, but it's sort of a little bit rage-filled. It can potentially be quite volatile. So, and that energy is very much around for the next month and more. So again, it's the balance point. It's bringing us back into the balance point, so we don't get caught up in it and feed that anger cycle, that rage that's already out there. Feed the darkness, feed that very angry energy.
Yeah, I think there is a growing resistance, a growing anger inside a lot of people. We were chatting to a guy last night, and although he's very much into these teachings, he says, but there's a samurai warrior in me, and I want to get my sword and go out and probably cut a few heads off. But so we are all feeling that. Maybe we ought to be more protesting, we think. But I would just say yes. Maybe we need to action when we see things that are so wrong. But at the same time, just be aware that it's the energy behind the action that determines the outcome. So if you approach something with rage, you will meet rage. If you go out into the world with anger in you, you will meet that anger. Because particularly this week, what Michelle was saying, we're planting seeds. So if you go out and you're sowing seeds of anger or rage or resistance, that is going to be the crop that you're going to reap. And I think it's very important at this time to be aware of that. If we want a new world to be born, and if we want a new world to be born with empathy and compassion and caring and principles of love, then those are the seeds that we have to be sowing over the next period. And I'm not just talking about the next week or two, but I'm going to say the next year or so. Those are the seeds that we need to be very careful that we are sowing those seeds of the fruit or the crop that we want to reap in the future, that we want our children to reap, our grandchildren to reap. So we have to be very mindful of that. But I want to ask you a question. So you spoke about Saturn there, but you said 2 other planets are opposite
Jupiter
us.
and Pluto.
And what is Pluto? How does Pluto
Saturn,
with the moon?
Well, they're not exactly opposite. They're sort of wider.
Okay.
At the moment, tomorrow, Saturn will be exactly opposite the Sun.
So that's the main energy.
So that's the main energy. But because Pluto and Jupiter are close to Saturn, they kind of get pulled into the picture. So Pluto is that energy of something has to die in order for something to be reborn. So we can all feel it, I think. There's a dying happening. There's an ending happening so something can be reborn, but we're still in the birth process. It hasn't been born yet. So we're still in that process, I would say, till the end of the year. because these three will travel together until the end of the year. So astrologically, that's what that says. And then Jupiter is actually a beneficial planet, and so he offers, he amplifies whatever he touches. So it can be a very good thing. So the upside of the new moon is that it's a moon where you can get things done, because Capricorn is a very motivated sign to actually make order out of chaos, to get little ducks in the row. And Cancer is also quite an organized sign. Both of them are cardinal. Cardinal energy is the energy to actually initiate, to pioneer, to start things, to get things going. And so is Mars in Aries. So there is that energy which we have to see as well. That's positive. And Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn all together can actually feed into starting new projects. So even if you can't go out and start it out in the world, if you have an idea, set the intention to get that going in the next month in some way, to do something towards that. You know, set the intentions of nourishing the moment. That's what I see it as, is nourishing and nurturing and appreciating this moment, as opposed to complaining about what it isn't, which tends to be sort of a theme at the moment, because there's so much drama and there's so much negativity and there's so much confusion, and people are feeling stuck and they are feeling restricted, that the conversation tends to go there all the time. So it's just to be cognizant of, you know, not hanging out there all the time, and bringing yourself back and nourishing, as John so beautifully led us in the beginning, you know, nourishing this moment, this cup of tea that you're drinking, this person that you're speaking to, these people that you're speaking to, this candle that you've just lit, because that brings you into that nurturing, nourishing being state. There's nothing wrong with doing, but then the doing can come from that being, rather than reaching for that, saying, oh, but I'm not there and I can't get there and it's so frustrating. Rather cultivate, which is a very new moon term, cultivate that inner peace, the inner okayness. So to see it as, what did you say this morning? I have no complaints, is something that you can say to yourself. Even if you feel that you do, and even if you feel that it's all wrong and shouldn't be the way it is, if you say the words, I have no complaints,
followed by thank you.
Thank you.
I have no complaints, thank you. And that really does dilute the ego,
yes,
because the ego survives on complaining, on judging. I mean, that's what the ego is about. Complaining and judging and desiring something other than what is. Always pulling you, like a little child tugging at you the whole time, wanting your attention. So one of the ways of dissolving that is to say, I have no complaints, thank you. And boy, that stills the mind very, very quickly, because the mind wants complaints, because complaints are food for the mind, food for the ego. And you know what you were saying there. So this whole year and going, probably into next year a little bit, we have all Pluto, and Pluto is bringing up that which is hidden, so that it can be dealt with in the light of awareness. So I think we're going to still experience a lot more hidden stuff coming to the surface and being revealed with us. And we can complain about it and judge it, but the fact is that it's been there for a long time. It's just coming to the surface now. It's not being created now. The corruption, the control, and the depravity of mankind has been there for a long, long time. The madness has been there for, probably 4,000 or 5,000 years. And now we're becoming aware of it. So it's coming to the surface. And it's coming to the surface not to punish us, but so that it can be healed. And how do we heal anything? Well, we heal it by accepting it, by bringing it into the light of love. That heals it, not judging it, not pushing it away, not trying to hide it again from our awareness. And we meet, at the moment, there's quite a dichotomy in people. And they say, no, I don't want to hear anything, and that doesn't heal any situation. I think one has to be open and aware and embrace the information that's coming out at this time, not to complain about it and not to get brought down by it, not to get depressed by it, but just to be aware of it. And then the important part with this new moon, the reason plants grow better after a new moon is because it's a pulling up energy. So it pulls up the water from the soil, it pulls up the nutriments, it pulls up the plants. And we can use the same energy in the next few weeks to pull up this new energy within us, this energy of nourishment, this energy of peace, this energy of fulfillment from Mother Earth. We can pull up this energy rather than reaching for it on the outside, which is a masculine energy. We can do the pulling up from the inside, coming from Mother Earth. So over the next few weeks, I would just suggest we focus on that, particularly in our meditations, that we are pulling this energy up from within us so that we are firmly anchored in the state of presence, in the state of gratitude, in the state of now. And then from this peace that we have, we can then radiate that into the world. So radiation is almost a feminine energy as well, where the masculine is a doing energy, the feminine is more a radiating energy. So if we can just, instead of like going on a march against something, we can radiate peace into the situation. We can radiate peace towards our leaders. And I think it's quite important to do that. I think it's quite important to hold. In South Africa, we have, we have Cyril Ramaphosa, and we have Zuma, and we have those people, and to hold them not with resentment, but hold them in light. They are in a very difficult situation, and their pain has come to the surface, and they are trying to find their way in the world, just like we all are trying to find our way in the world. And if we can put them in a bubble of compassion and love and acceptance, that will transform them more than going on a march against them. Because if we do go on a march against them, I think we could ignite a tinderbox. So just be aware of that. I'm not saying that the active protest it doesn't have a place. It does. But I would suggest we do the protest through engulfing those challenges and those problems and those situations that we would like transformed in a bubble of light. There is huge power in that. It's huge energy in having that. And one of the major energies of transformation that we would suggest you start working with is this power of appreciation. So looking for the good in things. As Michelle said, the mind tends to look for the negative in everything. You look around at what's wrong with life, and we don't necessarily look at what's right with life. And if we look at what's wrong with life, we're going to feed that energy because we're giving it our attention. And the law of the universe is that whatever you put your attention on grows. So let us practice, particularly over the next week or so, putting our attention on what is right with a sense of gratitude, really appreciating what is right. And there is so much right. We wake up in the morning, we can appreciate this breath that we're taking. We can appreciate the bed that we've slept in. We can appreciate a partner that we have, or the space of the stillness that we have around us, or a pet. We can appreciate the potential of a new day that's unfolding before us. And as we open our eyes, we can be grateful and appreciative of the wonderful, incredible gift of sight, of having eyes to see and ears to hear. And if we start to focus on that, particularly in this energy of the next few weeks, I think we will start to give birth to a new world. We are feeding the world we want instead of feeding the world we don't want. The world we don't want is based on fear, anger and resentment. And that's a world, and it's a world of separation. And I think what appreciation does, as we did right in the beginning, it's a sense of connection, isn't it? If you appreciate a flower, if you look at it, you feel a oneness with that flower. If you appreciate someone you're with, there's a sense of connection. So what we're doing here is we're healing the wounds created by fear, by separation consciousness. And we have tremendous power with us at the moment to do this healing work. So become more appreciative. If you appreciate, for example, if you go to a shop and you buy something, appreciate having it on your shelf. I've done a bit of work in Zimbabwe, and I think there are a few Zimbabweans on the call tonight. We in South Africa just take for granted that you can go to the supermarket and just pick something off the shelf. And when you go to a country like Zimbabwe, there's great shortages, and we don't, really appreciate in South Africa what we do have here at the moment. So it is to appreciate the simple things in life. Having the cup of tea that Michelle mentioned, or a cup of coffee. Appreciate that. That's an incredible gift in this moment. Appreciate the present moment and the gifts of the present moment. That clears the mind, dissolves the ego, and it also heals those vibrations of depression or anxiety or fear or guilt within us. Because when you are busy appreciating something, they cease to exist in that moment. You can't be depressed and appreciative in the same moment. You find that you will heal all of those with this very powerful energy of appreciation. And appreciation is an active thing. It's not passive. You actively appreciate something. And that builds up within you the feeling of gratitude. So appreciation and gratitude go hand in hand. Gratitude is that vibration, and it's the most powerful vibration there is. In fact, they say it's the only vibration that reaches the ears of God, is that gratitude. And that comes through the doorway of appreciation, appreciating everyone around you. It's not that you are, those of you who don't believe in a guy in the sky, it's not a case of thanking someone up there for what you have. It's you creating that vibration within you of gratitude. You are life, and life is giving you this. You are actually in appreciation of that sacred energy within you. You're appreciating your own sacredness when you appreciate something outside of you. It's not that you're making yourself subservient to someone. They brought you a cup of coffee and you say, oh, thank you for bringing me the cup of coffee. It's not that you're putting yourself down. You're saying thank you. You're appreciating this incredible life that's giving you this experience of this cup of coffee in this moment, or whatever it is.
Yeah, not taking it for granted. I think a lot of the time we do. We take it for granted, that we wake up in a bed under a roof and have food to eat. And I think if we can really slow down enough and be present enough to really see what we do have, then it actually starts to minimize the thoughts of what we don't have. So if you start your day like that, and you start your day off by saying, I'm not going to complain today at all. I'm just not going to. It shifts your day completely. Because we get into it almost becomes a habit, I'm complaining about that, and that's not good enough, and I should be doing that, and that should be like that, and that shouldn't be like that. And before we know it, we're spiraling down. And we can very easily get out of that downward spiral by just stopping complaining and appreciating what you do have. So even if you have a pain or you're in pain, to rather than complaining about it to yourself or to anyone, it's to say, well, I've got a pain in my leg. Well, I have a leg and I'm very grateful for this leg. So it's not saying I don't have a pain. It's just saying I'm shifting my awareness to something that I'm appreciative of. And also showing appreciation for other people, complimenting somebody. I think that there are, I know, there are a lot of people that are very lonely right now. For those of you who've lived alone or do live alone, it's not easy. I've lived alone for long periods of my life, and it's not easy. So if you know someone that is living alone, reach out to them. Send them a message, give them a call, say something, do something. Reach out, even if you're not feeling good yourself, because that actually starts that energy going. And, just a call, if you're feeling isolated and scared and fearful, is enough to actually help you just lift out of it. And I think that all of us on this call are conscious enough to do that. So the more that we can do that, and the more we can sort of take the focus off ourselves sometimes and just send that energy out, it starts to actually create an energy which is much more uplifting than this negativity that's going around. Because it's very heavy, this negative stuff. The news is negative. The Facebook posts are negative. So to find moments where you're not focusing on that, you're talking about things that are uplifting, doing things that are uplifting. Do something that nurtures yourself, that nourishes yourself. So whatever that is, if it's walking outside, sitting outside, doing some art, cooking a meal, a beautiful meal, savoring the tastes of that meal with somebody, with family, not trying to get to the next thing. Because we don't know what the next thing's going to be, ever. We only actually ever have this moment. So for me, the theme of this month is savoring this moment, nurturing it like you would a seed. So growing it, expanding this moment, kind of almost putting your attention on it so it grows.
Yes, and in that you start to discover something unique and something very, very precious. And as you start to savor the world around you, as you start to slow down, instead of always reaching for the next moment, you start to be fully appreciated and appreciating of what is coming into your awareness in this moment. You suddenly start to discover that you are at home. You are already at home. There's nowhere to go. And that is the energy that we're moving through at the moment. Because when you discover, like the crab, the crab takes us home with us. It's with it. It's always got its home with us. And that is one of the greatest discoveries that I found in my life, because most of my life was searching for home. I imagined it was out there somewhere. It was probably on another planet. I didn't feel too at home on this planet. And only about 20 odd years ago did I start to find that home is right here.
Exactly.
And I remember hearing, when Jesus in the Gospel of St. Thomas, I think, was asked where heaven was. He said, it's all around you, but you perceive it not. So I'm going to suggest that your home, which is heaven, is here right now. In fact, it is presence itself. That's where home is. And then we can let go of this angst, always needing to become more so that we can go more. And we start to settle back into the stillness of this moment. And from that space, we can appreciate life far, far more. We can start to change the lives of others through radiating this appreciation. So you meet an old person in the street, stop for a moment, look at them, and give them a compliment. They probably haven't been complimented for years. But look at them and compliment something about them. That'll change their day. You will feel good. Your serotonin will be increased. Their serotonin will be increased. That feel-good chemical, that oxytocin, will be released. You will feel good. You will actually be even better with the next person that you meet. They will go on and they will pass that good vibe onto someone else as well. We were talking earlier about going shopping. Appreciate the teller. Appreciate the work that they're doing. They don't get appreciated much. And if you bring the light of your presence to them with appreciation, you will change their day. You really will. Look at them in the eye and notice them. Read their name. Say thank you and mention their name. And do it with, not just with because John told me to, but do it with your heart. Do it because it's what you want to do. As if they are your best friend, as if they are your mother or your father that you are greeting in this moment.
Yeah, because it's the opposite of resistance. It's, there's this very big pull of resistance at the moment. That it shouldn't be like this shouldn't be like that shouldn't be like that. So everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are very grumpily going about their days, and that's the energy. So just stopping and saying hi to the cashier can actually shift both of your days. A very, very small little thing like that. And what John is saying also with that home thing, Cancer is the sign of home. And the energy of Cancer is to find the home within yourself. And this is a theme that we've been working on for a long time, for 2 years actually. And it's sort of coming to a culmination point now, where the home that we find within ourselves is going to be the strength that we carry forward, irrespective of what's going on around us. So if we feel fully secure and at home here, it's not that crazy when the world's going crazy, because you've got your taproot in the soil of now. You've actually got a sense of stability. You're home already. So you're not reaching for something else to make you happier or to make you feel better. Because we don't know what that's going to be. It's an unknown quantity right now. None of us know what the future holds. So for those of us who like to know what the future is, and to control or to feel that we're controlling the future, that's not working very well. So what's the option? That you fight and be in resistance because you don't know what it's going to be like? Or that you say, okay, it is as it is. In this moment, this is what I can do right now. I can work on this. I can greet that person. I can message that person. I can nourish myself in this moment with a good meal. So we always have that choice to bring appreciation to this moment and to verbalize it. You know, if someone does something for you, say thank you. I really appreciate that. Because that really, it just makes somebody bloom and blossom and grow. You can see that with children who are in a situation where they get thanked and praised and approved of. They blossom and grow, and they wither when they are put down or ignored or criticized. And so do we as adults.
Yeah. And, I would suggest that as we go through these times, we look for the opportunity that's embedded in these times. So when our life on the outside is very secure and very stable and, very predictable, it's quite often to be asleep in the dream. But when the situations around us become very unstable, very unpredictable, and your story of future turns into a bit of a nightmare, there's a great incentive then to wake up. And this is what we're speaking about, because the waking up is the waking up to that security that is always here in the present moment, which is your home, your true home. So then it doesn't matter anymore that the stock exchange is unpredictable, that there's shortages out there and that there's no stability in the job market or whatever. You're able to live your life at home, this home of peace, and navigate the world in a completely different way. Because when you are secure in your own being, you become far calmer in your mind, and a calm mind is more aligned with life, more aligned with your intuitive wisdom. It automatically knows what to do. It moves in the right direction. You become more intelligent. You're able to process information more intelligently when you're calm than when you're stressed. You're able to think more clearer. So those are all the benefits of finding that home inside you, which is the gift of the world being in so much chaos, in that we can't find our home, our security out there anymore. We have to find it within. So that's the gift of these times. And if we find it now, as we move through these times, I predict that we're going to create a wonderful new community-based world in the future. We're going to build a world based on connection, based on love, based on stability and sustainability, compared to the old world, which was based on the Darwinian process of competition, of fighting, and only the fit surviving, which is a very unsustainable world, and it's not a human world. That the process of competition, for example, which we've been programmed to believe is the right way, is not the way that nature works. Nature does not work necessarily through competition. It works through systems of synergy, systems of cooperation. Ecosystems work together. They don't continually fight to try and destroy someone else or another system. They work with synergy and cooperation. And we've gone out of sync with that as a human species. We have built, over the last couple of thousand years, a society based on competition. My religion is better than your religion. My country is better than your country. My sports team is better than yours. My body is better than yours. And that constant judgment and competition has brought about a lot of psychosis in people. I mean, if we look at America, and we look at the rate of depression and anxiety, the figure 4 or 5 years ago was 43 million prescriptions of Prozac a year. That's just one drug. And that is all brought about because people are lacking their humanity. They're lacking their connection with community. There's no sense of community. And we know that when people are disconnected from community, the drug usage goes up. I mean, in studies of rats, they find that rats that are separated from the community and have no sense of purpose within a community, they tend to go to the little dish that they put out with drugs in. When they are taken back into a nurturing environment, they ignore that drug totally. They don't need that. And so that's a society that we find ourselves in at the moment, a very sick society. But I believe right now we've been given the opportunity to heal. And the opportunity to heal is not to resist, not to fight, but to go into that place of presence within us and find that peace, find that security. Because from that place, our doing will be a manifestation of that. So we said, for example, now is the good time for gardeners to go out and plant seeds. And we said in the beginning, the seeds we plant now within our vibration, if they're seeds of love and connection and appreciation and gratitude, those seeds will grow because they've been given the energy of the cosmos at the moment. They are being drawn up, so to speak, up into the world of manifestation.
And you could almost see, those 3 planets in Capricorn, going back to the astrology, as sort of the wise ones, because that's another element of Capricorn. Capricorn has got a lot of common sense. Nothing's bad in any of these archetypes. And if you look at it from that aspect, it's sort of saying, be wise, wisen up. Be more mature. Be more responsible for your actions. Be more responsible with how you react, how you respond, how you interact with the world, with our planet, with each other. So that for me is the lesson. It's not like this is all just trying to make us, suffer. It's a wake-up call to say, let's be more mature. Let's go towards wisdom as opposed to polarization, stupidity, war, fighting everything and everybody. That's the polarized state. So so I think there's that to it too. There's a wiseness that we're supposed to be moving into, a wisdom.
Yeah, and
as
I
opposed
think
to being children.
The old world worshipped cleverness. If you were a clever politician, you could wheel your way in and you could get the best deal for yourself. If you were a clever company, you could outmaneuver your competition. It doesn't matter the destruction that you create around you, but that's cleverness, and we've tended to reward clever people very well financially. But that is destructive. Cleverness is destructive because cleverness is normally devoid of emotional intelligence. And wisdom is the opposite of that. Wisdom is when you are wise, you recognize yourself in another. You recognize yourself as an integral part of the ecosystem, of the community. And the decisions that are made that are good for you and good for those around you. Where cleverness is you make decisions that are good for you, but not necessarily good for anyone else around you. Yeah. And what the world needs now is less cleverness and more wisdom.
Yes.
And that comes from within. Wisdom comes from within. Wisdom is not a manipulative energy. Cleverness is a manipulative energy, but wisdom isn't. And it comes from the space between your thoughts. It comes from that space within, that sacred emptiness that contains everything paradoxically. It might appear empty, but it actually contains the fullness of the universe within that space. So that's something that needs to be honored and nurtured over the next few weeks as we move through this growth phase, but realizing at the same time that on the outside, yes, I believe there is going to be a lot more uncertainty, a lot more things revealed, that which is hidden coming out into our awareness. And this is a long process that we're going through. So we've been given the opportunity now to dig deep, and as Michelle said, to find our taproot, to go and plant our taproot into that rock of presence, that rock that can't be threatened by the changing storms on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
So shall we do a short centering meditation now to end the evening? Hopefully you've enjoyed this evening. Please leave us your comments. We really value your comments. And tell us where you're from. We also like to know who we're speaking to. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's just settle down, and Michelle can take us. And then after Michelle's meditation, please stick around because we're going to draw an affirmation card for the week.
Okay. So let's just keep this energy really beautiful and centered and calm and peaceful. So take a slow, long, deep breath in and a releasing breath out. And another slow, deep breath in, really appreciating this breath as you take it into your body. And then release it on the out breath. And as you release, just let go of the tension, the pressure, or any kind of resistance that you might feel in your body. Let's have one more long, slow, deep breath in. And now just completely release on the way out. Just totally release your body. Release the tension. Soften into this moment. That's it. And in this moment, just let the breath flow in its own rhythm without making anything happen. You're just watching the breath, the miracle of breath actually. Noticing as it comes in through the nostrils and out through the nose or through the mouth. And then there's another breath. Just notice the temperature of that breath as you breathe in. And the temperature as you breathe out. On the next in-breath, notice any smells. Be appreciative of your sense of smell. Imagine what the life would be like without that smell. The sense of smell of beautiful rain falling on earth, that gorgeous smell. The smell of freshly cut grass, flowers, the sea, a beautiful meal, your loved one, that gift of smell. And now let's appreciate the sense of taste. That's there all the time. The tastes in our mouth, on our tongue, of the delicious food that we eat and liquids that we drink. Just allow that appreciation to well up inside you. And now the appreciation of the sense of sight. You can keep your eyes closed, or you can open them slightly and just connect in with this incredible gift of sight. Every day, all day, you're able to see, connect, imagine, create. Feel the appreciation building for that sense. That's it. And touch. The beautiful sense of touch. Touching somebody that you love on the hand. Stroking somebody's cheek. Perhaps stroking a beautiful, beloved animal, a pet. Feeling of clean sheets. Beautiful clothes that you're able to help you to get warm or cool. The water that you shower in or bath in. Your bare feet on the soil or the grass. You build up an appreciation for being able to touch and feel. Extend that now into your heart. The ability to feel inside. The ability to feel feelings. To connect with people. The ability to open your heart. Build up that appreciation and feed it into your heart. If you can open like a very pale, pale, pale peach colored rose. Imagine that rose opening in the middle of your heart and just continuing to open, soft and beautiful smelling, opening petal by petal and just continually opening and softening. Feel what you feel like in your body right now, in your being. Now imagine planting a seed in the soil of your heart. A seed of intention for the next 2 weeks, the next month. A seed of intention that has to do with nurturing, nourishing, caring. Just feel what comes up for you, that you can set an intention, that you will nourish and water every day. It could be to do a practice every day, like a gratitude practice. It could be to give somebody a compliment every day. It could be to take better care of yourself, eat better, rest more. Whatever comes up for you, plant that right in the middle of your heart. And set the intention to really nourish that, nurture it over the weeks to come. Blow that intention into a little flame in your heart. Breathe it into that flame so the flame gets a little bit brighter. It grows a little bit. And then allow that light in the middle of your heart, that flame, allow that flame to radiate out from you. To fill your whole body, your whole being, to radiate out into your area, into your community, into the country. From this place, radiate that light to our leaders. And then radiate it even further out to the world's leaders and humanity as a whole. And know that it's done. And now take a beautiful, gentle, cleansing breath in and out. Check in with yourself to see how you're feeling. We'd love to know how you're feeling now. Feel the gratitude and the appreciation you have for yourself and for this community. As you move into your week, just hold this with you. And when you're ready, you can gently, in your own time, open your eyes.
Thank you. That is something to appreciate, isn't it? Beautiful. Lovely, lovely, lovely. We really appreciate all of you being here tonight. We appreciate the light that you bring to this community. Yeah. And we would also appreciate sharing this light. If you found benefit in tonight, share the video. Share it with your family and your friends. Radiate that. So let's choose a card. I think I chose last time. You can choose now.
Okay.
So we have a whole fat wad of cards here. So let's just see what affirmation we have for the new week.
That one. I am healed, I am whole.
I am healed, I am whole.
That's beautiful.
Just use that as an affirmation to come back to wholeness. Wholeness is always in the present moment, not in the future. I am healed, I am whole. And that's a green card, so it's very much about heart, very much about centering here. I'll photograph it and I'll put it up on Facebook and also the WhatsApp group.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Have
everyone.
a blessed week further.
Good to have you here. Have a good week.
See you next Sunday.